Less than a lifetime ago, the world knew Vietnam through the grainy lens of conflict, a nation scarred by decades of war, its name synonymous with struggle and devastation. When the war finally ended in 1975, the newly unified Socialist Republic of Vietnam faced a landscape of ruin. Its economy was not just poor, it was one of the most impoverished and isolated on the planet, crippled by the ravages of war, a subsequent trade embargo from the United States, and the heavy-handed application of a Soviet-style centrally planned economic model. For a full decade, from 1976 to 1986, the country languished in a period of deep economic malaise known as Bao Cấp, or the subsidy period. Private enterprise was suppressed, production was dictated by the state, and agricultural lands were collectivized. The results were catastrophic. Instead of a post-war reconstruction boom, Vietnam experienced a sharp deterioration. Store shelves were empty, national income grew slower than the population, and by 1986, inflation had skyrocketed to an unmanageable 700%. The nation, having won the war, was now losing the peace, teetering on the brink of total economic collapse. It was in this crucible of crisis that a profound change was forged. In December 1986, acknowledging the failure of the command economy, the 6th National Congress of the Communist Party of Vietnam made a historic decision. It initiated a series of sweeping political and economic reforms known as Doi Moi, meaning renovation. This was Vietnam's pragmatic pivot, a move to create a socialist-oriented market economy. The government began to abolish price controls, encourage private businesses, decollectivize farms, and open the door to foreign investment. From that soil of desperation, an economic miracle has bloomed. This is the story of how a country rose from the ashes of history to build one of Asia's most dynamic economies. And at the heart of this transformation, we find a paradox as fundamental as oil and water, communism and billionaires. Within the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, where the hammer and sickle still adorns red banners, a remarkable class of entrepreneurs has risen. These are the pioneering families who gazed upon a nation in the throes of historic change and saw not chaos, but pure potential. Their collective success is a powerful testament to how private, individual ambition can harmonize with sweeping national goals, unleashing a tidal wave of prosperity that has utterly reshaped a nation. This is not merely a story about how a handful of individuals became phenomenally wealthy. It's the story of how their vision helped awaken a sleeping giant. So, how was it done? We will now explore the lives of the 5 families who didn't just accumulate wealth. They helped build a new Vietnam from the ground up. Picture the dazzling modern skyline of Ho Chi Minh City. As dusk settles, a colossal billboard for Vin Homes, a premier luxury real estate developer, ignites, casting its brilliant glow over the Communist Party banners that line the streets below. At a stoplight, a silent, all-electric VinFast SUV, a gleaming symbol of Vietnamese technological ambition, purrs patiently past a marble statue of Ho Chi Minh. This scene isn't a contradiction. It is the perfect, living snapshot of Vietnam's unique and complex journey. It is the story of a nation hurtling towards the future without ever erasing its past. And behind the glowing billboard, the silent SUV, and countless other facets of modern Vietnamese life stands one family, Vinh Group. Their story, and the stories of 4 other titanic business clans, are inextricably woven into the story of Vietnam itself. We are about to uncover how their collective ingenuity and relentless drive created the vibrant, thriving nation we see today, beginning with a man who utterly transformed the nation's kitchens. Our 5th visionary is Nguyen Dang Quang, a man who grasped a fundamental truth about post-reform Vietnam. As the nation's economy began to open up and living standards started their steady climb, a massive social shift was underway. Millions of people began to migrate from the bustling chaos of traditional wet markets to the clean, orderly aisles of modern supermarkets. But their palates, their tastes, remained deeply and unchangeably rooted in Vietnamese culture. Consumers craved the convenience, quality, and hygiene of modern retail, but they would not sacrifice the familiar, beloved flavors they had grown up with. Quang's masterstroke was his profound realization that building a modern nation begins with honoring and elevating its most cherished traditions. His company, Masan Group, never attempted to reinvent Vietnamese cuisine. Instead, it perfected it, packaged it, and made it universally accessible. Quang, who had studied in Russia and started his early business career in Eastern Europe, returned to Vietnam with a sharp eye for market gaps. He recognized that the foundational elements of Vietnamese cooking, the sauces, the noodles, the spices, were produced by fragmented, often inconsistent, local makers. There was an enormous opportunity for a company that could offer trusted, branded products at a national scale. Masan's strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. Find large, high-growth consumer categories dominated by state-owned enterprises or fragmented players, and consolidate them under a premium brand. The company strategically acquired and dramatically scaled up treasured local brands. Chin Su fish sauce, a foundational staple present in every Vietnamese kitchen, was standardized for impeccable quality and hygiene, rapidly becoming a trusted national product. Omachi instant noodles offered a quick, delicious and convenient meal that still felt authentically and comfortingly Vietnamese. By placing these perfected traditional products on the shelves of every major grocery store, Masan didn't just construct a consumer goods empire. It built something far more important: confidence. It offered a rising middle class the priceless gifts of quality, safety, and consistency, elevating the standard of living from the kitchen table outwards. This approach was a core part of their point-of-life strategy, aiming to meet the holistic needs of consumers. But Nguyen Đang Quang's vision extended far beyond the dinner plate. In a move that puzzled many but proved incredibly strategic, Masan Group also made a pivotal investment in mining. They acquired the Nguyen Phao mine in northern Vietnam, which holds one of the world's largest deposits of tungsten outside of China. Tungsten is a critical component in smartphones, microchips, electric vehicle batteries, and other high-tech electronics. This maneuver plugged Vietnam directly into the intricate global technology supply chain, proving that a company built on the foundation of traditional flavors could also become a key player in the technology of the future. The Nguyen Phao mine is now the largest single producer of tungsten globally and a significant producer of fluorspar and bismuth, generating revenue from multiple commodity streams. This seamless blend of tradition and modernity defines Quang's immense contribution. Through a series of aggressive mergers and acquisitions, Masan also absorbed the VinCommerce retail chain, rebranded as WinCommerce, and the Phuc Long coffee and tea chain, further cementing its direct-to-consumer ecosystem. As a powerful testament to his influence and his deep, granular understanding of the market, Masan's vast troves of sales data are now often utilized by the government itself to help track inflation and comprehend emerging economic trends. This unique position has earned Nguyen Đang Quang a seat at high-level policy roundtables, where his business insights contribute directly to national economic strategy, showcasing a powerful and symbiotic public-private partnership that continues to drive Vietnam forward. No modern economy can hope to function without a circulatory system, and in the world of business, that system is capital. At number 4 is Ho Hung An, the man who engineered the financial heart that pumps lifeblood into Vietnam's soaring economic ambitions. A close business partner of Nguyen Đang Quang since their days studying in Russia, Ho co-founded Masan Group and shared the same entrepreneurial fire. In the early 2000s, Vietnam was a nation brimming with raw energy, but its state-dominated banking sector was notoriously risk-averse, offering little more than pocket-change credit lines to aspiring businesses. An entire generation of entrepreneurs had world-changing dreams, but absolutely no access to the funding required to make them a reality. This was the critical bottleneck, the single greatest obstacle holding back the country's boundless potential. Ho Hung An, who began investing in Techcombank as early as 1995, saw not a problem but the single greatest opportunity in the nation's history. During the global financial crisis of 2008, a moment of profound fear and paralysis for most of the world, he and his partners acted with breathtaking foresight and courage. They solidified their control over Techcombank, then a modest and unremarkable institution, and immediately began a radical transformation. By attracting foreign investment and meticulously implementing international best practices for finance, risk management, and digital innovation, they didn't just bail out a struggling bank. They forged an entirely new model for Vietnamese finance. They created a lender that was ruthlessly efficient, digitally savvy, completely trustworthy, and most importantly, willing to bet big on the future of Vietnam. Techcombank became the powerful engine of the country's burgeoning private sector. It pioneered a zero-fee strategy for electronic transfers, rapidly accelerating digital adoption and attracting a massive base of loyal customers. Almost overnight, small and medium-sized enterprises, the true backbone of any thriving economy, finally had access to the capital they desperately needed to grow, to hire, and to innovate. The real estate sector, which is crucial for urban development, could now secure the massive financing required for its most ambitious projects. The practice of pre-selling luxury condominiums financed by the bank wasn't just a clever business loop. It was a revolutionary financial model that dramatically accelerated the construction of modern housing, creating tens of thousands of jobs and utterly transforming cityscapes. What some might dismiss as mere financial innovation was, in reality, the creation of the essential infrastructure for widespread prosperity. Under Ho's chairmanship, Techcombank became the first private bank in Vietnam to exceed $400 million in pre-tax profits, and later surpassed the $1 billion profit milestone, cementing its place as a top-tier financial institution. His influence has become a family affair, with his son taking on a leadership role at Masterise Group, a major luxury real estate developer closely affiliated with Techcombank, creating a powerful banking and property empire. Ho Hung An didn't just buy a bank, he supplied the high-octane fuel for a generation of Vietnamese entrepreneurs to build their own empires, and in doing so, to collectively build a more prosperous nation for all. While some of his tycoon peers chose to build sprawling, diversified conglomerates, our number 3 billionaire, Tran Dinh Long, chose to build tall and strong. His story is a masterclass in how focusing with singular intensity on one essential sector can become the foundation for an entire nation's development. Today, his Hoa Phat Group is synonymous with a single word, steel, but its impact extends far beyond a single commodity. In effect, Tran Dinh Long constructed the very backbone of modern Vietnam. He started humbly in 1992, trading scrap metal and used furniture just as the country was embarking on its first major construction boom. But his genius was his relentless, forward-thinking mindset. Instead of being content to profit from just one part of the industrial process, he constantly asked, what comes next? What do we need to control to build a truly resilient and self-sufficient industry? This question propelled him on a decades-long journey of vertical integration. He moved from trading to manufacturing steel pipes, then to producing construction steel. The pivotal moment came with the decision to build his own integrated steel complexes. Why should he rely on foreign suppliers for crucial raw materials like iron ore? He acquired his own mine to secure his supply. Why be at the mercy of congested and inefficient public ports? He built his own massive deepwater port terminal at the Dung Quat complex, capable of handling ships up to 200,000 tons to control his own shipping and logistics. The sprawling factories and warehouses needed for this vast operation, they were built, naturally, with Hoa Phat's own steel. This closed-loop production model, utilizing advanced and environmentally friendly blast furnace technology, allowed the company to maximize efficiency and minimize waste. This brilliant strategy accomplished more than just creating an incredibly profitable company. It created strategic independence for the nation of Vietnam. The first phase of the Hoa Phat Dung Quat Iron and Steel Integrated Complex was a massive undertaking with an investment of over $2 billion. The company is now investing over $3 billion more into Dung Quat 2, a project that will have an annual capacity of 5.6 million tons of hot-rolled coil, HRC steel, and specialized steel. When complete, it is expected to elevate Hoa Phat Group into the top 30 largest steel enterprises in the world. By building a powerful domestic steel industry from the ground up, Tran Dinh Long ensured that the country's most critical infrastructure projects, its highways, its bridges, its airports, and its skyscrapers, would never be held hostage by volatile international markets or geopolitical whims. His vision provided the literal framework for Vietnam's explosive growth, turning national ambition into concrete and steel reality. Every single layer of the supply chain that he brought under his control created more jobs, more expertise, and more value that stayed within Vietnam. He didn't just build a corporate empire that was impervious to bureaucratic hurdles. He built a foundational industry that allowed the entire nation to build itself, taller and faster than anyone had ever thought possible. At number 2, we have a woman who looked at the government's ambitious 5-year plan and saw not a set of rigid directives, but a golden invitation. Nguyen Thi Phuong Thao transformed herself and her company into the crucial missing piece of Vietnam's national puzzle, and in the process, she completely democratized the skies. A self-made millionaire by age 21 from trading goods in Eastern Europe, Thao returned to Vietnam with a formidable business acumen and capital. In 2007, the government officially declared a national goal to double tourist arrivals, a key pillar of its economic growth strategy. There was just one glaring problem. The domestic airline industry, dominated by a stagnant and expensive state-owned carrier, was failing. At the time, less than 1% of Vietnam's population could afford to fly. This is where Thao's unique brilliance was put on full display. She walked into the transport ministry, not asking for a handout or a subsidy, but boldly offering a solution. Her pitch for Vietjet, a new budget airline, was as simple as it was revolutionary. She would help the party achieve its stated tourism goals. She would open up dozens of new domestic and international routes, and she would create millions of affordable airline seats, all with zero state funding. It was an audacious offer the government simply could not refuse. After receiving her license in 2007, she delayed the launch due to high oil prices, finally taking to the skies in 2011 after a potential partnership with AirAsia was halted by the government. Vietjet became the first privately owned airline in Vietnam. Using leased airplanes and an ultra-efficient, no-frills, low-cost carrier model, the impact was immediate and profound. Thao drew both fame and controversy with bold marketing strategies, including advertisements featuring flight attendants in bikinis, a move designed to grab maximum attention and signal a break from the stuffy past. It worked. The airline grew at lightning speed and was profitable within a year. Suddenly, Vietnam was open to the world, and to itself in a way it had never been before. Millions of international tourists could now afford to discover the country's stunning beauty, injecting a torrent of capital into a thriving hospitality industry. But perhaps more importantly, the people of Vietnam could now afford to fly. Students could travel to universities far from their hometowns. Families separated by vast distances could finally reunite for holidays. Small business owners could expand their markets to every corner of the country. Thao didn't just build an airline, she wove the very fabric of the nation closer together. By translating a dry government slogan into tangible results and immense profit, she created a virtuous cycle of growth that benefited everyone. Her success made her Vietnam's first self-made female billionaire. and by investing her profits back into national pride, such as sponsoring the national women's football squad, she cemented her image as a patriot who delivers, proving that the most successful business ventures are those that lift an entire nation. And finally, at number 1, we have the man who didn't just follow the playbook. He wrote it, Pham Nhat Vuong. He is the ultimate visionary of the Doi Moi reform era, a man who saw not just the potential for economic opportunity, but the deep-seated aspirations of an entire nation for a modern, dignified, and prosperous life. After the landmark 1986 reforms opened the door to market economics, Vuong was studying in Russia and building a business in Ukraine. There he founded Technocom, a company that produced instant noodles under the brand Mivina, which came to dominate 97% of the Ukrainian market. He sold the company to Nestlé in 2004 for a reported $150 million and returned to Vietnam. He came home with capital, experience, and a powerful, unshakable hunch. His country was on the verge of changing forever, and he wanted to be the one to build its future. While others hesitated, waiting for certainty, Vuong acted with stunning decisiveness. He perceived that the people's desire for a better quality of life was moving far faster than the laws and regulations could be written. He moved to secure 50-year development rights on vast stretches of prime coastal land, and immediately began building world-class resorts, starting with Vinpearl on Hon Tre Island. He introduced a standard of leisure and luxury the country had never seen. From that beachhead, his Ving Group expanded into a breathtakingly comprehensive ecosystem meticulously designed to serve the Vietnamese people from cradle to grave. It is a vision of a complete modern life. Being born in a state-of-the-art Vinmec hospital, attending a world-class Vin school, living in a meticulously planned Vinhomes apartment, shopping at a glittering Vincom mall, and vacationing at a 5-star Vinpearl resort. This ecosystem did more than just create a corporate behemoth. It fundamentally transformed Vietnam's urban landscape and dramatically raised the quality of life for millions. Ving Group built entire city centers from scratch, introducing international standards of planning, construction, and customer service. And Vuong's ambition continues to lead the nation into the future. His most daring venture yet, VinFast, is positioned as a national champion in the hyper-competitive electric vehicle industry. After building a state-of-the-art factory in just 21 months, VinFast has pivoted entirely to EVs and is now shipping them to showrooms in North America. The journey has been fraught with challenges, including poor initial reviews, significant financial losses, and a delayed US factory. Yet, Vuong continues to pour his personal fortune into the venture, seeing it not just as a business, but as a declaration to the world that Vietnam is no longer just a manufacturing hub, but a burgeoning center of high-tech innovation. Through visionary projects like the Vin Future Global Science Prize, which he and his wife established with a $3 million grand prize, he is now investing in the next generation of pioneers worldwide to solve global challenges. He didn't just build an empire, he built a platform for Vietnam's loftiest national ambitions. So there you have it. This is the blueprint that these 5 visionary families used not just to build their private fortunes, but to become indispensable partners in Vietnam's modern economic miracle. They pioneered new frontiers, venturing into the uncharted spaces where a changing economy was just beginning to take shape. Pham Nhat Vuong built luxury resorts when modern tourism was in its infancy, and Nguyen Đang Quang created branded consumer staples for a middle class that was just starting to emerge. They aligned their private ambitions with national goals, making themselves essential to the country's development plans. Nguyen Thi Phuong Thao's Vietjet was the direct answer to the government's call for a tourism boom, proving that what was good for her business was good for Vietnam. They built resilient, self-sufficient industries, stacking their supply chains to create powerful domestic champions. Tran Dinh Long's Hoa Phat Group through its relentless vertical integration, gave Vietnam strategic independence in the foundational commodity of steel. They created the financial infrastructure for growth. Ho Hung An transformed Techcombank from a minor player into a modern financial engine that provided the essential capital for a new generation of entrepreneurs to thrive. They built ecosystems that raised the quality of life, understanding that they weren't just selling products, but creating comprehensive environments for modern living, working, and learning. Vingroup's cradle-to-grave model set a new standard for urban life in Vietnam. They are establishing legacies of innovation, already handing the keys to the next generation, and pouring billions into high-risk, high-reward ventures like electric vehicles to ensure their enterprises continue to push the boundaries of what is possible. They reinvested in national pride and social progress, actively sponsoring culture, sports, and science to inextricably link their commercial success to the nation's identity, as seen with Vietjet's sports sponsorships and Vingroup's Global Science Prize. They put Vietnam on the global map, taking their companies public on international exchanges and competing on the world stage, elevating their country's reputation with every success and every bold attempt. These billionaires didn't just operate in the shadows of a changing system. They stepped boldly into the light, bringing their immense energy, their vast capital, and their unparalleled vision to help construct the modern Vietnam we see today. Their story is a powerful testament to a unique path of development, a story of entrepreneurial spirit and national ambition woven together into a remarkable tapestry of prosperity. If this deep dive into Vietnam's economic miracle gave you a new perspective on development and enterprise, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We release a new analysis every week on the hidden forces shaping our world. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you believe is the single most significant legacy these entrepreneurs have created for Vietnam's incredible story?